Welcome back and congratulations to making it to the end of this section where we showed you how to build out a simple JavaScript tooltip. We started out by setting up some styling for the tooltip, and this one has to be position absolute because that element is going to be moving around and we're going to be moving around using JavaScript. And we've got some simple styling for the tooltip, and of course you can make it look way better and apply your own styling to that. We needed some HTML. And we've got all of the content for the tooltips contained within the HTML. So we've got a class of tooltip and data content with the contents of the tooltip contained within the HTML. And then we use JavaScript in order to select those elements and apply that interaction to those elements. We also have an element with a class of output, and this is actually going to be the visual tooltip that shows up to the user. Next, we use JavaScript in order to select the elements from our HTML into object format that we could manipulate a lot easier within the code. We set a basic global variable for myInterval, so we can utilize that within our script and clear intervals and set intervals, so we don't have our tooltip showing up indefinitely while we're hovered over, so there is a time limit in case the user is just sitting there hovering over with their mouse and it's not always going to show up. So it's not going to show up indefinitely. It's going to be a 3-second max or 3000 milliseconds. Then we went through and we selected all the tooltips and added in the event listeners. There's 2 event listeners that we needed to add in, so that was mouse over and mouse out. Basically, whenever we're hovering over it, we want the tooltip to show, and we want the tooltip to disappear whenever the user is not over it. So that's where we've got that functionality. We've got the one that disappears here, the display none, as well as we've got the display block. So that's hiding and showing the element, the output element on the screen. We also saw that we could use the event trigger the event object in order to get the X and Y position. So this is the X and Y position of the mouse, and this is actually perfect and ideal where we can set our tooltip. And then what we did is we used those variables and updated the style value of the tooltip element. And you can see that whenever we do an inspect, that whenever we hover over, you can see that that output one is updating. So we're constantly updating those top left values as well as the display properties whenever we're hovering over. And that's what we're doing with the JavaScript. We're manipulating as well as the inner HTML. So this is the content that is shown to the user whenever we're hovering over the tooltip. And we're getting that content from the element itself, getting the attribute, and we've set just an attribute. We've called it data tool content, and you could actually call it whatever you want in selecting that attribute, as long as it's contained within the element and you've got an equal sign there. That's going to equal whatever the value of that element attribute is. So go ahead and add this into your own project. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. I'm always happy to help clarify any of the content within the previous lessons. Thanks again for taking the section, and I hope you've enjoyed it.